Well, I'm just thinking of the dogs or somebody to come in
It's
and knock
probably-
it down.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Comedians Connected. I'm Julio Sanchez, and I'm joined today by my awesome friend, Steve. He's a coach from Fearless. I'm actually going to give you a quick second, kind of tell him who you are.
Who I am, man. You guys got an hour, 2 hours?
Ooh, I'm down.
So I'm Steve Reformado. I was born in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. So Crystal Lake, Schaumburg. If you name the suburb, I've lived there. And then from there, I was in the Army for a while. That eventually made it home to Janesville, where now I work at Granger. And I'm also a coach at Fearless. That's pretty much.
Were you overseas in the military?
I was. I did deploy to Afghanistan.
Really? Is that the only place you stuck around, or did you?
Yeah, I've also been to Germany. I went to Ramstein, which is an Air Force base that's out there. I was a part of United States Army Reserves.
Okay.
So if you're thinking like out of Rockford, so sometimes we would deploy and we would attach to like an active duty unit. So then we'd have to sit, and I was stationed in Kandahar, which is in Afghanistan, which is ridiculously hot. But, and it's probably similar to where I'll be going, the climate.
Oh, yeah. So for those who don't know, Steve's going to be leaving us in Janesville and going to California. We had talked a little bit about doing a podcast, but I'm glad we at least got this last opportunity to get it in.
Yeah, literally to the bell. I'm leaving Monday, so this is the one and only podcast. Maybe if I come back and do vacation, we can get up together.
Let me know ahead of time. We can even do one at Fearless. Have like Uriel and Bobby, all three of us, just sit down and talk how things have been going.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what Fearless is, it's mixed martial arts. It's located in Janesville, and if you're not training there, you should be.
Absolutely, you should be. I would recommend
plug
it.
Fearless MMA right there.
I've been preaching for everybody, just either join Fearless or at least join a gym. It's been one of the best things I've done. And I feel like a lot of people I've met, they'll kind of tell you the same thing. I was always looking for a gym, but joining a mixed martial arts has been one of the best things I could have possibly done, because I've done regular gyms.
Right.
I did wrestling, and I've seen more health improvements when I'm at Fearless. I've seen really good results from, Anytime Fitness. Love that place. I'll still plug that place.
24/7.
24/7.
Get a little pass, a little key card, and I'm in there and I'm out.
If you're traveling, it is the greatest place to stop, take a shower.
Yeah.
If you're traveling, you need to take a, 2.
Mm-hmm.
Gas stations are gross. If you go to Anytime Fitness, it's always a clean bathroom. I think it's the best thing you can carry around in your back pocket.
Fun fact, I worked at Anytime Fitness.
Really?
I was an assistant manager there.
Yep. Where?
And in Beloit.
Okay.
I have scrubbed the crap out of those toilets. Let me tell you, Anytime Fitness, especially in the Janesville area, there's one owner, I forgot his name, but he owns a chain of them. And he stresses cleanliness in his gym. So if you do need to go to the bathroom or for whatever reason, and you don't want to go to a gas station, Anytime Fitness in this area is very clean.
Yeah, I'm always blown away. In Wausau, they have a really nice facility. The showers, I was like, why don't we have this in Janesville? The showers were awesome there.
Yeah.
So did you work at the one in Beloit by like that one pharmacy, I think?
Yeah, so it's you have Dollar General there. Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, my mom goes there now.
Mm-hmm.
I got her to start going to the gym, and I met her a few times, like for a month and a half, 2 months at 5 a.m.
What's it like to work out with your mom? I've never worked out with my parents. Well, I guess I personally train my mom now. She's at Fearless now.
Really?
And she was coming on the weekends and hitting the bags and doing some cardio kickboxing.
Oh, I didn't know.
So
So you kind of know what it's like.
Yeah. So, but before that, we've never done anything together. I guess we used to run.
Same thing. I've never done any type of exercise before with my mom, and she kept seeing me go, and I would give her here and there crap because I was like, Mom, you're too young to be this slow. You got to be making up. She's like, no, I'm just tired. Yeah. And finally I was like, you should just go to gym. And I was like, Mom, I will go to the gym with you. I'm like, whatever time you want to go, morning or night, I'll go. She's like, well, I got to get to work this time. So if you want to, we can go early in the morning. Deal. Mm-hmm. I got her in the treadmill, got her stretching, and in 2.5 weeks, I got her to touch her toes stretching, and she was proud as hell. Wow. So it was really cool to go there. What is funny about going with your parents is when you grab a weight, now you have Mom going over you, honey, that's too heavy. I'm like, Mom, relax. It's okay. I know for myself how far I can go. Right. And when I tell her grab certain weights, and I'm like, just start with that. She's like, you should do lighter too. I'm like, Mom, it's okay. So that's the bad part. But other than that, it was awesome going with my mom.
I think no matter how old we get, They will always see us as
Mama Bear is gonna come out. It's
No.
now you're just a baby again.
And Ma, if you watch this, I love you. You can baby me for as long as you want.
Exactly. Yeah. No, they do it a good passion.
Well, the 9 months you carried me, I guess you get a free pass or whatever.
Yeah. I made my sister a little bit jealous because we sent her a picture one morning. I was like, hanging out with mom. What you doing?
Child.
Exactly. I don't see you at the gym, Melissa.
Right.
So it was great. And the reason I liked it a lot was my sister's the one threw me into wrestling. We did baseball together, so I've always had my sister to work out with.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to my mom, it was almost still like having my sister, still always family. And I was like, man, I get to work out with my family. It's pretty sweet. My sister's been my best competitor and my best teammate for any sport we've done together.
Yeah, I think it's fundamentals, fundamentals. It's foundation from the beginning. Your first person that you compete with is your sibling. I have 2 older brothers, and one of them was highly competitive. And we used to have intense Madden sessions. And he used to bully me so bad. So those kids who think you're being bullied on Instagram, this was nothing. The mental torture and angst that my brother put me through Madden 99, I'll never forget it. I still have emotional scars from it. But Ed Reformado, appreciate it. You gave me my work ethic from always beating me up. It wouldn't happen now, though. So if you decided that you want to pick up that game and rematch me now, you're getting beat.
That's a challenge I'm hearing. That's all I heard. Let's get the Xbox Live going. No, your PlayStation.
PlayStation, yes. I've made the switch. Made the switch. I've always been an Xbox fan, but there's more games for PlayStation. They were coming out with new exclusive content, so I was like, gotta get on it.
Yeah, actually, I was always a PlayStation. I switched to 360 because at the time 360 had more games.
Yes.
But then I went back to PS3 because God of War. Right. I love me my God of War.
The new God of War?
Phenomenal.
Oh, man. When I beat that game, I didn't know what to do with my life afterwards. I felt like on a journey. It was just the whole game. It was one of the best games I've ever played. And even better than, I believe, Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah,
the storyline, the way they took care of that game, I think is crucial for gaming and what gaming needs to do. Right now, I'm like in a situation where my friend's like, oh, you going to get this game? No, because it's remastered. I already got it remastered on PS3. I don't need to spend it again. These companies need to realize, use the money you have and create something new.
Right.
Just because you can make money out of something you've made, you shouldn't.
No, I totally agree.
So do what God of War is doing. Use all that money funneled. Sit down and think. Think what you want to do because they did a phenomenal job for not releasing anything for a while and giving us God of War. It shows that they cared about the game versus how much money can we make out of it. They could have been at God of War 10, 11 by now.
Yeah. And if you think about it, they kind of did. So for the first 2 God of War games, if you've never played, were amazing. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of took a back step on God of War 3.
When they were going to PSP and all that, they tried. They were reaching.
And then they took a few years off. They got God of War 4. And I don't know if it's better than the 2. I can't remember the 2, but it's close. I mean, that game was thoroughly enjoyable. I enjoyed even the side missions. I beat it 100%.
Ascension and the newest one I really like. Ascension going like the prequel story, learning. They actually changed a little bit of how Kratos came to be. Kratos introducing the Sisters of Fate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that one kind of switched a little bit, but it was really cool seeing all the character development. And like for me, that's one of the best character games I've seen. To me, they really haven't let me down. I didn't play the PSP ones because they look kind of. But I think with one of the recent ones, they actually gave you all the downloads, so I should be able to play them now. I think it was 4. They actually give you access to all of it in your receipt.
I'm going to have to look at that.
You should.
Might have to go back and play.
Because I think I got access to it, and I was like, really? Sweet. Yes.
I got to beat them all.
Dude, they're awesome. But, so, let's go back to your friend. We got, like, this is good.
A little side-by time. But you get to know us.
It's what Steve likes to do, man. There's fun parts. We all like to do movies, video games, and then there's the seriousness of him actually grabbing you. It's kind of scary sometimes.
Yes, yeah. I'm 2 different people. There's this person that you're meeting right now, very friendly. But when it comes to the mat, I'm all business. Just because it's a serious sport, so I take it seriously, and I try to convey that when I teach as well.
Yeah, and actually, so when did you start doing MMA?
So it's kind of a watery story because was I fully committed to actually training seriously? Would probably be the first time I walked into Fearless in 2015. Okay. That was probably the first time where I was actually training, at least 4 or 5 times a week. And, I was working consistently with a group of teams and not going from kind of gym to gym. But I've actually started training in boxing when I was about 15, 16. I used to walk to Team Curran. So Team Curran was located probably like a mile from my house. And I would walk to the class because I would use their weights. And that was kind of my first introduction of the MMA scene. Okay. And at the time, Team Curran, I mean, they had Bart Palinowski, which if you don't know, he's the ex-WEC competitor at lightweight and featherweight. And then there was just so many other people. I mean, Mike Stumpf, who went to my school, Pat Curran, who was the Bellator featherweight champion, and then also the lightweight Bellator tournament champion. So there was these guys that, were in my town, and Felice Herring was another one that were in my town that I got to see by just going to this gym. And, you're kind of just like in awe of these people. And they're, sparring while I'm lifting weights, and you're like, what is that? And so that was kind of my first introduction. Then I kind of started working with them a little bit. And then, I started moving all over the place with the military. And then I found my true home, which was Fearless.
Okay. So you just kind of first dabbled with boxing, and that's what you first started falling in love with?
Yeah.
I was wondering why you're more of a boxing fan. I was seeing you, and I was like, man, I just always see more boxing.
It is. I don't know what it is with the hands. Legs make me tired. I mean, man, kicking is exhausting. And then the whole idea of having one foot off the ground, and those small shorts. I know Uriel loves the 1980s tie shorts and showing off those beautiful legs, but I can't do it.
No?
I can't do it.
Yeah, that's why I love the shorts Gonzalo came out with. They have a nice little cut. They're movable. I was like, this is great gear.
Yeah, I could probably do some of those, make a little adjustments. But Uriel, man, he just had those real high up. But shout out to Uriel, great Thai striking coach. Again, if you're in the Janesville area, start working with him.
I think both of you guys were awesome. I saw an improvement once you guys actually really started working together. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when we first seen you walk in, I didn't even know who you were. I don't know how much an idea they had of who you were. Yeah. But I saw really quick how you and Uriel started like getting a bond and a friendship. And when you guys started coaching, I was like, damn, that's kind of awesome. Like now Uriel constantly, and you guys did videos of sparring. And right. I was really amazed how much time you guys were spending time like sparring and working with each other, like doing your craft. And then that I think interpreted into your teaching too. Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of improvement. Like we were just talking earlier. There was a night and day between the first day I saw you teaching and then was it 2 days ago?
Yeah,
practice. Mm-hmm. That was a good practice.
Yeah, organization. If you're going to be a coach and if you're going to teach other students, you have to be organized. What are your objectives for the day? What do you want to see from your students? That was a main obstacle for me to overcome, was because I never had taught MMA before or jiu-jitsu before being at Fearless. So when I went into the gym, I didn't really have a plan. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'll just show them some things. And you could see the chaos, the kind of chaos that happened in the class because there was no direction, right? They were looking to me to lead, and I wasn't leading effectively. But when I started putting a schedule, I started putting, times, this is what we're going to be, and kind of, keeping to that schedule and keeping the class flowing, mm-hmm. you could see and you could feel that not only the students participated, but there was more learned, more gained from that class.
You got like a better shift and focus once mm-hmm. you were structured yourself too.
Right.
What was your mindset going into that first day? Like, how did you think it was just going to be a breeze?
Actually, I'm a cocky guy. I don't like to say cocky, I like to say confident, but maybe I was a little too cocky in this instance. Yeah, I went in there thinking, I'll teach these guys, they're all white belts. I'll teach them a Kimura and we'll roll. And then, I'll get a lot out of it. And I found out every day what Pat went through. And another thing that I found out from coaching was that everybody comes for your head. So I've rolled with these guys for 3 years before I started coaching at Fearless. And we've had some competitive roles, right? Mm-hmm. But that first day, I felt like everybody was trying to either rip my arm off or take my neck or whatever they could grab to the cleaners. And that's when I knew what defend the gym actually means. When you're a coach and you're that standpoint, you're that representation of Team Fearless, of that gym. So when mm-hmm. Pat's not there, it is you. And I've really took ownership of that role and really have molded my game to know I may not win, but you're definitely going to know you're in a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of things I saw that changed in your character. Like you said, it went from Steve to you fully just talk about fearless and making it a whole team thing.
Right.
And I saw how you came as a better teacher.
Yep.
To me, it was great to see. And being fully honest, I kind of started telling you, but I did criticize that first practice. I came home and I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about this guy.
We're coming out.
I was like, huh, like, I don't know what just happened today in practice. There was just people talking, kind of doing random shit. All right, I'll just go the next day. And like the next day was still kind of the same thing. And I was like, I just don't know how I feel about this new coach. And the more I started going and the way you were teaching, what made me fall in love was how you were teaching. So it came down to, at first we could see you weren't sure what your plan was, but as you structured your plan, I remember the first day and I was like, oh, now I see why he was the way he was. But I wasn't sure if it was your first time teaching. You've taught other things before. And I know we had interruptions happening too. And I was feeling bad for you because I was like, man, I see he's trying to coach. These people aren't doing it. I was just trying to stay quiet, like just focus with it. Don't be rude. And then more people start talking. I was like, okay, that sucks. Yeah. So I did feel like bad for you that first practice. But then going forward, I think that's everyone started seeing, he's new at teaching, but when you were teaching, you were showing effectiveness and a different way to learn. That to me was super important. I was used to Patrick's way of teaching, and I was used to the way of other people that had started showing me. When you came along, you were the more unorthodox, I would say, out of the most jiu-jitsu rollers based on there. You and I were talking about that you were taught do this, and then when you go live, that's not the case. And you went into that, right away. Your teaching style was like, okay, most things aren't going to be the case. This is how you adjust to that. And at first I was super uncomfortable. I didn't know if I liked that teaching style, but then it made sense because now I'm getting, this is what I'd like you to do. When that doesn't work, here's that. And you brought that aspect to the game. And I think it was super crucial to that.
Yeah. It was, like I said, several obstacles that I had to overcome. I had to convey what I wanted for you to learn. And then I also had to learn, or had to adapt to disgruntled students. Students who didn't like the way I was teaching, or students who would talk while you're in class, because there's a proper etiquette, but you have to carry yourself, again, because I'm a representation of fearless. So these are ways that you have to overcome these without, I can't just get mad and yell at the person, right? I have to think of a structured way and out of the box thinking to get them more involved in class and to see my point. And as well as what kind of teaching style am I going to accomplish? How do I teach, and why do I teach that way?
Exactly.
And the real reason was just because how the situations that I was placed in while developing who I am today as a fighter and as a person. I was always given, this is it, this is the boundaries, and this is where you're going to have to be. You're going to have to stay within these boundaries. And I never could learn that way. I need to know why, and I need to know how far we can go.
Exactly.
I need to know how far the rabbit hole goes, but I tell everybody. And it goes really deep, especially in jiu-jitsu. It's never ending, and I don't see an end in sight. But my thing and my point, what I wanted to do was all the difficult scenarios that I was placed in, that I didn't really have anyone to mentor me or to help me get through. I wanted to be that person for the new people.
Okay.
And that's what coaching for me started to become. At first, I started coaching, and I took the role in coaching to help Pat, who's been a mentor to me, and also to get, the training focused in the direction that I wanted it to go. So really, I thought training was going to be for me. So again, it started selfish. I'm not going to lie. I was a selfish reason for me to do it. I was assisting Pat, but I was selfish in the sense that I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to focus on what I want to focus on. But what's great about students is just because you have a plan doesn't mean it's going to go that way.
Exactly.
And then it became more about them. And that's what I found coaching is. It's about sacrifice and giving to your students more than yourself. And it's made me a better human being, I think. If you don't know me 3 or 4 years ago, maybe I was a little bit more selfish and a little bit more cocky. But as I became into this role, it adjusted all my mannerisms, even in life.
Right.
I'm more patient because when you coach, you have to be patient. I like to hear different perspective, and I like to sit back and guide rather than do.
Enforce and stuff. And see, that's what I really liked about your coaching style is you didn't become just like a dictator, and it's the same way Patrick is. You guys are there to actually listen. And what I love as being a teacher is, so like you were saying, it does at first start become selfish because you are like, oh, I know my stuff, I know what I can do. And then you'll come across someone who will have like that dumb question. But then when you get that dumb question, you're like, man, I never even thought about that.
Right. You think about it in a whole new light.
It's like, you're a genius. Why am I dumb? And why am I not coaching? Like, and you question yourself. And so you learn a lot more. And that's what I've loved best about is when I'm coaching, teaching anything, I'm learning, understanding why I'm doing things. And I've realized like, oh, I've always been questioning, why do you want me to do that? Why is it that, Right. And I was talking about earlier how early in the week we were working a move. And I was like, man, Patrick, do we have to like pull in the arm to make it effective? And he was like, oh, now I see why everyone's having problems, because he was going around to everybody and he realized we were all pulling in. He's like, all right, guys, stop. Good question here. And I was like, great. Now he pointed me out, but whatever. I was like, as dumb as question is, I'm glad it stopped because it clicked in for him what he needs to explain now. He's like, yeah, you don't pull in. I'm sorry. I should have like said that better. And then you start hearing as soon as we went, oh, everybody started doing all fine. It's like
light bulbs.
Exactly. It's not a dumb question. No. And as a coach, you like getting those questions. You learn to be like, you know what? I'm glad you did that, because me as a coach, I know what I'm teaching, but then I forget if someone doesn't have the knowledge that I do, I'm going to skip over the basic.
Right. Brings back fundamentals. And a lot of what my class was fundamentals. And maybe in a different way, maybe we did it a different way, a different situation, a different drill, but it was all fundamentals. We're all doing it in that way, in that drill. And I can't bring that point more to the limelight to these students. Is your fundamentals are huge, because me rolling with you, I have 100-pound weight advantage. So maybe if I turn this way, it's not a big deal. You sweep anyway. Yeah. Me rolling with someone who's got 100-pound weight advantage on me, if I turn this way and it's not correct, he's not going. Yeah. And that's the main difference. And that's why I always tell students, no matter how uncomfortable you feel or how nervous you may be, and you're going to be because he's going to be a bigger guy, roll with him, because that's how you get good at jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu was a small man's game, and it's unfair that the big guys are learning it.
Yeah, I did end up liking, and you know what? I've gained a lot of experiences, and my mentality has switched in everything I've done. I wish I would have done jiu-jitsu sooner, because as a wrestler, I was always afraid to go up against the big guys. Yeah. I hated going against big guys. Exactly. And I was like, why am I going to put myself in this situation? And I would go to jiu-jitsu. I would have never gone against someone like you in wrestling. I would have been like, screw that. That dude's way too big. It's going to hurt. In jiu-jitsu, there's still a chance of that same thing happening, but you guys have given me more of a confidence. Like, size isn't going to be a thing. You may get slammed, but work that slam. And it's like, oh, if I would have had that mentality in wrestling, I would have gone a little farther. But now it's like, well, I have this wrestling mentality, now I'm jiu-jitsu. Put those two together, making my own craft, and it's made me effective and like learning this thing. At first I came in just blank, shutting up, and now here and there I still don't like putting in my 2 cents too much, because again, you guys have been in it longer. My 2 cents are wrestling's perspective. Right. And even then, I don't think I have the best credentials, because I was only wrestling since like 7th grade.
It's experience. It's grappling experience. It's match experience. You can never get too much experience. Exactly. Right. It's just that's what they tell you. I mean, in boxing, they tell you to stay amateur for 200 fights. Really? Why? Right? Because in MMA, you do 10 fights and you go pro. The reason is because you get these experience in these fights. Maybe you get put in a situation. Maybe you feel a guy who's super strong, or maybe you kick a guy and it feels like it's kicking steel. You know what I mean? You've never felt that before. And these will teach you how to overcome those situations, how to adapt, and how to improve your game. That's why I tell people, stay as amateur as long as you can until you have to go pro. Because get the experience at the amateur level, get your game down, get your routine down, what you like to do, what you like to accomplish. Get also the breakdown, how you break down your opponents. That's what the amateur is going to do for you. It's going to give you that random opponent. So it'll teach you how to be ready at all times, for anything. And it's also going to give you an opponent who has experience, who you can now break down and build a game plan on. Do that in the amateurs before you go pro, because if you go pro and you haven't done it, you're going to be a kind of a step behind.
I actually didn't know that. I've heard that for MMA it was 10 fights. I always forget. you know.
Well, I think it's like 4 or 5. So some people actually do turn pro really early, but most.
And you have to win a certain amount out of
Yeah.
those, right? Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of fights and win a certain amount to go
But
pro.
most competitors, I'd say around 10 win amateur fights, they go pro.
They start going pro.
Well, it's because they're going to make money.
True.
They don't want to fight for free.
Yeah, and see, that's what the hard part is. And to me, that's why I've kind of stepped back from that light, but I still want to have the experience of grappling, because to me is fun. That's why I haven't jumped to hitting. It's like, I'll stay.
I got this pretty face, man.
Yeah, I'll do the free stuff.
You don't want a broken nose like
I'd rather
mine.
pay to get choked out than pay and get punched in the face.
Right.
But it is honestly mad respect to you guys that do this stuff. You know, you guys have a whole different mentality, and again, it's why I like that I jumped into it. It added on to my mentality from all the experiences I've had, and I think it's really crucial that we stick to a lot of them, because you want to talk about staying on the grind, because we were talking about when you decide to do something, and I actually thought it was interesting that you're saying when I decided to be like serious about it, because I thought you had always been. I didn't know you were just jumping in and out of the scene.
I think again, it's always perspective. You know, I'm looking hindsight, right? You know, back then. So maybe in that moment I felt I was serious, but it comes to when you get the experience, when you get the knowledge, was I really serious about it? And the same thing with fighting. You know, right now, you know, I'm probably more serious right now training than I was for my actual fight. Now, if you'd have told me that, you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, I'd be like, no, man, I'm serious about this fight. Because you just grow, you continue to grow as a person. And I've always strived to become better. I've always strived to get more knowledge from people, regardless of their background, regardless of where they're from. Because I want to be the best version of me every day. And I'm always trying to get better every day.
Yeah, I think you really gave us that drive. It helped having you come in as a coach. Again, we've had phenomenal coaches, whether it's Bobby, we have Uriel, Rachel. I almost spaced on her name for a second. Rachel, Patrick.
Rachel, if you see this, you sorry.
Yeah, I am sorry. We have the other Bobby who will take up the role. And to see even, we were talking about, not Sebastian, what? Marshall. You know, seeing Marshall step up, becoming a coach now, it's awesome to see that we have so many role models. But again, you added on what we extra needed too. Just the way your mentality was, and seeing you how you became a better coach. I think it really helped, like, really tighten up what it means to be at Fearless and how we can all grow. You know, you stepped up. There's people still stepping up each day. And I think that's what's helping, is from you stepping up, more people are willing to, because they're saying, you know, this may be your first year coaching, but to see how far you've gotten, how much more you've learned when you step up in that role. I think we all need a especially focus that we can do that. Certain times, you know, there's other times where we want to be the coach, and obviously we're going to be wrong, but and that's also the other part, accepting to be wrong. That to me was very crucial when I was learning how to teach. Is someone will question me and go, no, you're wrong. I'm like, all right, why? Tell me why I'm wrong. Versus going, hey, I'm teaching you, not right. I'm right, you're wrong. I always like going, all right, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? And you were very open, coach, about that.
Again, different perspective, and accepting that, you know, maybe I was in this role prematurely, but I definitely rose to the occasion. But becoming, you know, open to advice. I have a huge mentor. He's been a mentor. He's been a friend. He's been like a real older brother, and Patrick Delgado. So anytime I had issues, I mean, we got threads of Facebook messages where I was like, well, you know, I had a student do this today. You know, how do I adjust that? How do I get him to participate more? How do I get, you know, him to not necessarily acknowledge me as a coach, but acknowledge that this is a class going on? That would be one scenario, or like your scenario, I did this move wrong. You know, what can I do to not only avoid a situation like this, but to perform this move better? So we'd come in and we would do a private lesson, and we'd go over the move, and we break it down step by step by step, making sure that each step I was controlling my opponent into the end result that I'm looking for, which is a submission and finishing. So get a mentor, be open to criticism, and remember, we're all learning, so it's okay to fail.
So to anyone looking to be a coach or first-time coach, would that be your best advice to them?
That would be my advice. You know, open to criticism, be okay to fail, and have a great mentor.
What do you think your advice would be to, if you're having problems dealing with students? What's the biggest thing to help you, other than patience? Because patience is a big thing in
virtue.
learning.
It's a virtue for
When
sure.
you're teaching, that really was my thing. That wow, you keep yourself really cool. I'm like, man, when I walk out this door, I'm just like, and I'll come back. But I understand it's not you.
Mhm.
It's just I also got to adjust on how I teach. But anyways, what would your best advice keep going with, like having problems with students or having problems when you're teaching?
My thing is to set boundaries. Set the line, set the standard, and enforce the standard. Now, when I mean by enforce the standard, it doesn't mean being a dictator. It doesn't mean, oh, you have to do this right now. It means being your likable, approachable self, but letting him know that these are the boundaries and this is a class and we do have other students. Usually, most students will understand there are other students here that are there to learn, and they accept that. If you don't set that boundary, then like everybody else, they kind of want to test, where's the line drawn, and that's usually will resolve most issues. And if it continues to be, you always have the option to say, hey, you don't have to come to this class. There are other classes and other opportunities for you that may suit you better if you feel that I'm not meeting your needs. And you have to be open to that. Some students just aren't going to like your teaching and maybe not like you. But that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make them a bad person. For whatever reason, it just didn't work out. But accept that. Don't take it personal, and know that you have a bunch of students that love you. Wednesday was a prime example of all the love and all the growth that I've seen on the mats from my students. So it lets me know that I was doing a good job.
I would definitely say you did a great job because, again, I didn't get to join a lot of your classes, especially come towards the end. And to show up at that last one, those people are monsters. Like, you trained them well. Yeah, and that actually goes back to staying on the grind. If you're doing something like this and you want to be serious and compete, stay in practice.
Right.
That's like the really, really important part, especially if you're going to be just an MMA fighter. If you're going to roll for jiu-jitsu tournaments, make sure you're staying in what you're focused on. Missing a few weeks really matters. Trust me.
Right.
Really matters.
This sport is, depending on what you do, it is a difficult sport. Not many people do it. It can be a great hobby for those who just want to, come in, meet some individuals and roll around a little bit and maybe learn a little self-defense. But again, remember, self-defense is serious as well, because when you use this, it is going to be something that is going to have to save your life. And that's the same mentality you have to have for fighting and for jiu-jitsu tournaments, is that you are competing against another individual who is trying to win. And anytime you have that scenario of another individual who's competing against you trying to win, you have to be serious. It has to be business first. You need to come in here. You need to get the work. You need to go to competition classes. You need to prepare. Otherwise, you're not going to like the results that you have. I lost a split decision. I feel I was the better fighter, and I feel I won that fight. But that was not the result. I did not get my hand raised. And you could trade it back to, I was serious about training, but how far? I was 2-3 weeks out training serious. Maybe I should have been 6 weeks, 9 weeks, a year.
So you start thinking back on the things I should have, would have, and you learn from said things.
And you learn. That's the major thing, is learning, but take it seriously. If you want to fight, if you want to compete, take it seriously. Don't think because you show up to jiu-jitsu class a couple times a week that you're ready, because you're not.
Yeah, that's the biggest things for me. Unfortunately, I've always had some come up after signing up for tournaments. So it's like the last 2 weeks, man. And I'm always like, I shouldn't go. I'll make a fool of myself. But when I get in those situations and I know I'm not going to make it to the gym, I'll make sure I'm still being active. I'll try to go running or make sure my heart rate still keeps going to where I'm not going to just show up and die.
There is always something you can do. I mean, watching tape, as silly as that sounds, watching hours and hours of grappling or watching hours and hours of fights. My movement is based on several different fighters. And that wasn't movement that I've gotten from a coach. That was movement that I saw from other fighters that I incorporated into my style. You can always learn. You can always be growing. Thing that I've always got from Gary Tonin, who's a popular black belt. And he's a competitor. He competes. He's on the Danner Death Squad. But one of his philosophy was training while injured. Now, that really doesn't relate to this point unless I relate it this way, which is training while injured, whether, you're always training. If I can't make it to the gym, I'm always training. If my arm gets hurt, I'm figuring out ways to train. If I can't train my body, I train my mind. If I can't train my legs, I'll train my upper body. Continually moving forward, and that point, keeping on the grind.
To me, the biggest person that has shown me that, other than Patrick, Patrick and Bobby are monsters. They'll get hurt. They'll still keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Gonzalo's always telling me, when I told him I hurt my sternum, I hurt my wrist, he's like, still go to practice and just sit down and watch. Yeah. He's like, just show up to practice. You watching and learning what they're going through, you're still training. Like, make sure you just don't lose that. And I was like, you got a point. Just because you are hurt doesn't mean you can't do something for yourself and keep going. That's actually one of the most important things I've been keeping in the back of my mind, especially with aging, is we all got to make sure we stay some sort of training and stay up.
Yeah.
If we give ourselves excuses like, I'm getting old, you're going to feel old. Yeah. Your body will deteriorate. And to me, that's what's kind of keeping me like, I'm going to make sure I always do jiu-jitsu. I'm seeing the people that we roll with. There's a few 40, 50-year-olds in there, and they're moving like me. I want to be like them. Those are great examples. And that's what we need to find is the right examples, Mm-hmm. I don't know. They might actually go home, still drink beer, but they're still doing something healthy. Kudos.
They got to be doing something right.
Yeah. It's like, you can find the right examples. They're not golden angels, but we can find things that keep us in the right positive thing, even though we're doing things that set bad. But, we're all individuals. We all learn different.
Balance, man.
But make sure you're doing things that are constantly good for you.
Yes.
So again, thank you for being that fearless. The way you coached, even though, like I told you, I didn't agree. Yeah. I'm glad you took up that coaching spot. It was cool to see you grow, and you helped me especially grow. I was actually really afraid when you come up to me, like, tell me how to do things. I was like, man, I don't want to let him down. I don't know is he mad at me? But just the way you would teach in the end did stick. And it was like, one of the biggest things you would constantly tell me is finish that choke. Like, you're saying a lot of people come for your head. And as a wrestler, that's the one thing I'm like, oh, there's the head.
Well, you got me one time, man. You got me pretty good.
And that's because I remember the same thing you're saying. You kept telling me sit into it. And for me, is I get stuck in that wrestling thought of, I got the head. I want to try to turn him over. And you're like, dude, you're there. Just finish it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I better try to finish it. And I just clenched up when I got you. And that's, again, if I didn't have you as a coach to remind me in doing that, I'd probably still be there in the wrestling position, try to flip him over, then try to go for the choke.
Right.
And it all comes from experiences. And, whoever didn't agree with your coaching, you weren't the best coach for them, that's fine too. That was actually a beautiful point you hit, because it was an episode or two ago. I was talking about find your right coaches.
Right.
Don't be afraid to get rid of said coach, but make sure you do it in a positive way. Let them know, I like what you're doing, but it's just not working for me. I found someone who's teaching me and I understand it. That should be okay. And if your coach isn't okay with that, then maybe they're really not best for you.
Right.
They're not doing things that are going to be always best for you. And I've learned that through my job experiences. I've been really lucky when I've left at both my jobs now. They're both, anytime you want to come back, you have a job still. I was like, really?
It's a good environment to be in, because again, we're all our own individuals. We got to learn and do things ourselves. No one's going to do it for us.
Oh, no.
So I'm here just as a tool to help you. And if that means I'm not the actual tool that assists you to get to that position, but I'm more of a supportive role and I'm supporting you to get to that goal, then that's what I'll be as well. You just have to be accepted. You have to accept failures, and be okay with it, because we're all going to fail. But as long as you accept it and you learn from it and you move from it, I think that you'll go far in life.
Yeah, you're pretty quick at showing how to work through fail, because what I remember is when people weren't getting how you were doing it, you were pretty quick to go, you know what? If I was in a situation, this is how I would make it so I can still finish said move, even though it's not that way how I first taught you. You're always working with people trying to find, okay, well.
Always try to adjust, man. Adapt or die.
Exactly. I got little legs. Some people got like thicker legs than me. Our legs are different. Bodies different. And you're a really, really phenomenal guy to see work that way as a coach. So thank you.
And, you get that from Pat,
Yeah.
Pat was really good at that as well. Me and Pat have totally different body structures.
Yeah.
He looks like an Abercrombie and Fitch model. I'm a big huskier guy. So for him to teach jiu-jitsu to me, I feel he can teach jiu-jitsu to anybody.
Yeah. No, you guys are awesome. So thank you guys. Well, before we let you go, obviously you're moving to Cali.
I am. California.
So we're losing him.
There you are. They're not losing me. I'm still going to be in your spirit, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to submit all you guys.
You better come back. We're definitely getting rolling. I think next time we come back, we should get Uriel. I was talking about getting Bobby in here. We'll sit down and have a talk about.
More importantly, it is this young man's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody who's on Facebook or anybody who's watching or anybody who follows me, make sure to wish him a happy birthday, because he's part of the family and he's been a great asset to Fearless. And I've enjoyed watching your podcast, and I've enjoyed having you at the gym as well.
Thank you, good sir.
All right, buddy.
Oh, man, you were awesome. Well, you guys have an awesome Saturday, and we'll see you guys Monday.
All right.
Later, guys.
Bye.